Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. How are you?
I'm
Oh,
doing
I was supposed to not ask that. Sorry. Is that okay if I ask you how you're doing?
all is well, no complaints.
Okay. Are you sore or anything?
Um, just little bumps and bruises here and there, but I'm good. I don't have any
You-
long-term effects.
Okay, good. Okay, so please introduce us to yourself again.
Um, my name is Alton Edmond. I am an attorney, motivational speaker, real estate investor, politician, community leader, activist, college professor. Um, I'm a lot of things, but
Yeah.
I am glad to be on here talking with you this morning. How
Okay.
about that?
So, so we're primarily going to be talking about your organization and your activism, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay. So for those of us who don't know, can you explain to us what double jeopardy is?
So, double jeopardy simply is your right not to have to deal with continuous litigation over the same issue over and over again. And so, once you are accused of a crime, a jury is sworn and impaneled in your case, you cannot be retried on that same set of facts. And so it protects you so that you know that there's an definite end to the criminal proceedings against you, so that they don't just go on forever, and so the state can't keep coming after you again and again and again and again.
Okay. What's freedom of assembly?
Freedom of assembly is one of the most important rights that there are. You know, because of freedom of assembly, um, the various organizations and groups are able to march and to protest and to make different demands of their government, of their employers, and really express their concerns. The freedom of assembly gives you an opportunity and a constitutional right as a citizen to be able to gather together to redress concerns that you might have.
So I asked that, and we want to follow up with this. So for those of you who are watching this in the future, hello, is everything okay? It's 2021, and last year there was a march on the Capitol. Um, why is it that some of the people are being prosecuted if they have freedom of assembly? If that sentence makes sense?
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. So basically, what I would say is that constitutional rights are not absolute. And there are a lot of people in the world that think that their constitutional rights should be absolute. Like, for
Yeah.
example, there's a debate going on right now about masks and vaccinations. And people
Yeah.
are saying that, you know, I have the freedom to do whatever I want to do, so on and so forth. But where do your constitutional rights end? The simple question is, your constitutional rights begin to end when they begin to interfere with other people's constitutional rights. And so when you're exercising your constitutional rights in a way that make other people unsafe or that put them at risk, that's usually where they begin to end. And so when we talk about the right to assembly, you do have the right to assemble and to express your grievances. But when you assemble in a way that destroys people's property, when you assemble in a way that makes people unsafe, when you assemble in a way that disturbs the peace in such a way that 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 people's lives are interfered with in a major way, then that begins to be a problem. And so every single constitutional right out there has a limit to it. And I think a lot of people get in trouble when it comes to constitutional rights because they assume that their constitutional rights are unlimited.
I didn't know that. Interesting, very, very interesting. What got you wanting to study law in the first place?
You know, I wanted to be an attorney since I was 5 years old. Um,
What? Why?
I, you
That's
know,
a weird dream for a kid.
honestly, I can't even tell you why, but I just remember from a very young age wanting to be an attorney. And I remember as I got older, I began to do things and see things that led me to believe that I actually had the skills and ability to be able to do it and do it well. When I was in middle school, I started participating in essay writing and speech giving contests, and I started winning medals and trophies and money and
Wow.
gift cards. and I started, just doing certain things, being invited to speak at different events and host different things, even as a kid. And when I realized that I had those oratory skills, when I realized that I was charismatic, when I realized that I had those things that I saw the TV lawyers having, I decided, well, maybe this is for real and I should chase after it, and so that's what I did.
Interesting. Very, very interesting. Um, Everyone should have a gun.
I think that every law-abiding citizen should have a right to bear arms. Um, but I don't necessarily think that everyone should have a gun. I think those two things are very different. And I was recently quoted by the Florida Today for saying that I believe that every law-abiding citizen should have a right to bear arms. And I don't back down from that statement. But again, um, law-abiding citizen and every person, those are two different things. And there are some people that because of their actions have interfered with their own right to possess and to have a firearm,
Yeah.
and that's an unfortunate thing. And so, I think that there could be and probably should be changes in the law as it relates to who should have a gun and who shouldn't have a gun. But I think that as long as you are in compliance with the law, you should have a right to bear arms. And I exercise that right very freely myself.
Oh, okay. So talk to us about Edmond Inspires. What made you forgive me.
No, it's okay.
How long has your organization been in business? What made you want to start it in the first place?
So I started Edmond Inspiration, I believe, back in 2013. I don't even remember the year I started, honestly, because the year that I started the official business and got the LLC was not the year I started Edmond Inspiration. I've been doing
Mm-hmm.
motivational speaking and mentoring for probably since I was in high school or undergrad. I've been doing motivational speaking and things like that. And so the business just came later. I decided to start a business and make a business model out of it. But, I decided to become a motivational speaker because I come from a very poor upbringing. I was raised in the projects with rats and roaches in our house, no AC. And I lived in South Florida near West Palm Beach. No AC growing up, no cable TV, simple things that other people enjoy. I didn't have as a child. Um, and when I had motivational speakers that would come to my school and talk to me, those things inspired me and made me believe that I could have a life that was different than what I already had. And so I wanted to be that person to be able to inspire people that they can live better and do better than their current circumstances.
That's very interesting. You had such a strong mindset at such a young age. Is that something that your family? Yeah, that's what I was saying as well, Bernadette. Is that something that your family instilled in you, or something that you, other than the speakers who came into your school, like a favorite cartoon character that inspired you? Like, what gave you that strong mindset at such a young age?
Well, I mean, it was a combination of factors. It was certainly family, because, and I did a motivational speech. You can check it out on my YouTube channel, but it's called Without You, where I basically give credit to some of the people that have inspired me throughout my life. And one of those people that I mentioned in that speech is my mom, because my mom has always been a dreamer. And ever since I was a child, she would talk about these big dreams and these things that she wanted to accomplish, so on and so forth. Now, unfortunately, a lot of the things that she wanted to accomplish have not yet been accomplished
Mm-hmm.
because she was a dreamer, but the when it came to the action and actually um, following through with those dreams, sometimes she fell short. Um, and so I got the dreaming big from her, but the action got that part from someone else. And so I was able to grab different pieces of inspiration from different people to kind of try to be the best version of myself that I could be. And so, I'm just grateful that, that I could go from that place to this place, because I'm going to tell you, you know, growing up, um, growing up, my mom made $242 every 2 weeks.
Mm,
And that is what we lived off of. We lived off of that $242 and government subsidized food
mm,
stamps, and we lived in government subsidized housing.
mm.
And today I make $300 an hour for my services, and so I make more in an hour than my mom made in 2 weeks of work.
Mm,
And it's just such a blessing. I'm grateful to be where I am today.
mm. So, how do I phrase this now? As a person of color, do you think that okay, okay, let me get okay. So, something that I've noticed a lot lately is a lot of the repetitive being told that, oh, I'm so sorry that it must be so hard for you as a Black woman in America. And it's like, I don't feel that way. I feel that the opportunity is equal for me as it is for everyone else. But if you keep being told that, you start to sit in that whole woe is me kind of personality. Nothing's ever going to get better.
Hmm.
So I say that to say this. Do you feel oppressed?
That's somewhat of a loaded question,
Okay.
and I'll tell you why.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say this: I do not feel oppressed,
Uh-huh.
but I do know that there are factors in place that are meant to oppress me.
Hmm.
The difference between me and you and many people is that I don't allow those things to be an excuse for me. I know that I
Hmm.
have to work harder than some other people that look different than me have to work in order to get the same things. But that doesn't discourage me because I want what I want and I'm going to get it no matter what I have to do to get it. And so, yeah, there are different factors in place that could oppress someone that doesn't have the drive or the work ethic to push past those things. But you know, ever since I was a young man, I just refused to allow people to tell me no.
Hmm.
I remember when I was in the 10th grade, there was a teacher, um, because at my high school, in 10th grade, every student in the 10th grade had to go and do a career assessment test. And
Yeah.
basically, we had to go and fill out these questionnaires. And at the end, it said, this is what career field would be most suitable for you.
Hmm.
After I did that aptitude test, um, it determined that I would be best as a mechanic or some sort of repair person because I'm good with my hands and I work well with my hands and I enjoy working with my hands.
Hmm.
Um, and so that's what the aptitude test said I would be best at. After I completed the aptitude test, the guidance counselor asked me, "What do you want to do for a living?" And I said, "I want to be a lawyer." She looked at me and she said to me, well, she asked me a question. She said, "Do you have straight A's?" And I said, "No, I have all A's and one B." She looked at me in my face and she said, "You'll never be a lawyer."
Wow.
And this was a guidance counselor that was supposed to be helping me and directing me. Um,
Yeah.
and instead of allowing that to discourage me, because again, that was a form of oppression.
Yeah.
There was a woman in a position of power that was supposed to help me and uplift me, but instead she used her position of power to try to tear me down. Instead of allowing that to discourage me, I decided that I was going to prove her wrong. And you know, and today I have, you know, I've done what she said I would never be able to do. And I've done it really well. If I can pat myself on the back just a little bit.
Yeah, just a little. Okay, so let's change the subject just a little bit.
Sure.
Do you with society now in 2021, do you think that women are letting down men or vice versa?
Oh, um,
That's great grades, right? All A and a B? Like what?
you know, I think there are a lot of factors going on when it comes to men and women. Do you mean in romantic relationships? Do you mean,
Romantic.
yeah, I think there are a lot of factors in place right now. I think that um, in some ways men are letting down women, and I think in some ways the adverse is true.
Mm-hmm.
I know in my experience, I I grew up being raised in a very religious home, and I was taught to be a traditional man. I was taught to be a provider and a leader for my family. And some of those things I learned unconsciously because I watched my mom struggle as a single mother, and I wanted to be able to support my family and my wife in a way that my mom was not supported growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I think that in my experience, living in a day and age where modern women just are rejecting, you know, a man being a leader and a provider for the family, I think that
Yeah.
I have been let down a lot just
Yeah.
because of what it is that I want and how I was raised. But I think that we live in a time where a lot of other men might be getting exactly what they want, you know, out of modern women. But I just, you know, I think that I might be a dinosaur. Maybe I'm outdated for this current generation of women, and I think that's why, you know, I'm doing really well for myself. But you know, I'm still single.
True, true. We have a question from Bernadette. Have you gone back to the school and told her that you're a lawyer now?
No, I haven't. I haven't. You know, honestly, I think pride cometh before a fall. I read that somewhere. I
Hmm.
just don't see the point of taking my accomplishments and trying to rub it in that lady's face because I don't think it'll do any good.
Yeah.
I think that she made up her mind about who she thinks I am, and I don't think it would matter what I accomplish. She still would look at me and just see a nigger at the end of the day.
Mm.
Um, and that's all she wants to see when she looks at me. And so it wouldn't do any good. And not only that, but I'm just not that vindictive type of person. I'm happy with the life that I'm living. I'm happy with the track that I'm on. And I don't necessarily care um, what she thinks
Oh, bless you.
about what it is I'm doing.
Oh, bless you. Um, okay, so let's talk about singing
Hmm.
because you're also a vocalist. You have such a great voice.
Thank you so much.
You do, you know, and you know that you do. And so do you agree with the phrase that everyone can sing?
Um, Absolutely. I don't think that
Really?
I believe that everyone um, can sing, but I don't believe that everyone is going to like the type of singing that everyone does, if that makes sense. You know,
Yeah.
for me, singing is about expression. Singing is about getting something that is inside of you out.
Mm.
And I think that everyone should sing in terms of everyone should have that ability and opportunity to express themselves. Now, what I also believe to be true is that, you know, some people are better off expressing themselves in the shower alone, whereas some people have something that they need to express on a stage that other people can enjoy with them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
Yeah, yeah.
but singing is a beautiful thing, and that expression is something that everyone can and should do.
I like that. I
Thank
love
you.
that a lot. That's
Thank you.
beautiful. Okay. How do you know if you're self-sabotaging and if you are self-sabotaging, how do you correct that?
I think that I think that for me, it's important to be it's important to have some level of self-awareness in life. And so for me, it's important to just kind of assess myself and how I behave, what my habits are, and the things that could or could not be interfering with healthy relationships. You know, and
Yeah.
so after every relationship that I've had, you know, I've looked at myself and what I've done in that relationship, what I could have done better, what I did well, and I tried to learn and grow from every relationship that I've had.
Yeah.
I think an unfortunate truth is that some people lack self awareness and they keep making the same mistakes in relationships over and over and over again because they aren't learning from
Okay.
those mistakes. Um,
Yeah.
and I think it's self sabotage um, when you you should know about the things that you're doing that are interfering with your healthy relationships, but you're not exercising the self-awareness to learn about those things. Um, and so, I think one of the ways to not do that is to be more self-aware and to really take an inventory of yourself every so often.
Yeah.
At least once or twice a year, I take an inventory of what my goals were and how I've done toward achieving them. Every so often, I look at how I've been in past relationships versus how I manage my relationships now and how I behave in those relationships and what I learned from them. And that's one of the things that helps to, one, keep me grounded and humble, because, you know, it's easier to be humble when you look at yourself as an imperfect person and you realize, no, I got some stuff I need to work on. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, but also you're in a better position to improve yourself when you can look for those imperfections and have a game plan for dealing with them and working through them.
A beautiful answer.
Thank
I
you.
like that. Okay. So where can we like you, stalk you, follow you, all that fun stuff?
All right. So on Facebook and Instagram, you just look at my name, Alton Edmond, ALTONEDMOND. If you want to find me on Instagram, I am Sanging Attorney, SANGING Attorney, ATTORNEY. And if you want to find me on YouTube, you can put in Edmond Inspiration and I will pop up all sorts of motivational speaking videos and whatnot. My law firm website is EdmondTrialLaw.com. That is EdmondTrialLaw.com. And my motivational speaking website is EdmondInspiration.com.
And then last question.
Sure.
So what's next on, because it feels like you're so young and you've accomplished so much. What's another feat that you really, really want to accomplish?
Well, I mean, right now I'm on track, but my goal is financial independence. And that's one of the things that I'm striving for. I'm on track to potentially accomplish it earlier than planned, but my goal is to be in a position by the time that I'm 50 to retire if I want to retire and completely walk away from work and be able to do whatever I want to do. And so I'm working toward putting investments in place such that all of my bills will be paid without me having to lift a finger, and replacing the income that I have to work for today. And so, financial independence is something that's on the horizon. I'm 32. And so you're talking about 18 years, 17 and a half years down the road. That's a long-term goal. And there are other little things here and there, but I mean, that's really the major goal that I'm working toward financially. And it's exciting to see the things fall into place for me to be able to bring that to fruition.
That's you're such an amazing human being. We should clone you.
Stop it.
You should.
I'm trying to get
We're gonna
like you.
clone
You're the
someone. Let's
superwoman.
clone you. Oh, Alton, it's been a pleasure, man. I'm so happy to have you around my network.
Thank you for having me, Ashley. I enjoy myself every time. Feel free to reach out anytime.
Oh, I will. You have a good day, man.
You do the same. Peace.